What if I told you the agonizing pain in your knees might have absolutely nothing to do with wear and tear, and everything to do with what's happening deep inside your gallbladder and your gut? Sounds shocking, right? For decades, you've likely been told your joint pain is just cartilage thinning, bone rubbing on bone, and inevitable breakdown. But what if that's only a fraction of the story? What if the real culprits behind your arthritis are hidden systemic imbalances that medicine often overlooks? Welcome to Healthier Daily. I'm Dr. Ben Carter. Today we are tearing down the simplistic myths surrounding arthritis and joint pain. We're going beyond surface inflammation to uncover the hidden, deeper threats that science is now revealing, threats rooted in your cells, your gut, and even your body's mineral balance. And guiding us through this complex yet ultimately hopeful landscape is our esteemed expert, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you, Ben. It is time we look deeper. That persistent ache, that morning stiffness, that grinding sensation, these are not just mechanical failures. They are distress signals from a complex, delicate joint ecosystem. Imagine your cartilage not just as a cushion, but as a living coral reef or an ancient forest within the joint, incredibly resilient yet highly sensitive to its environment and painfully slow to regenerate once damaged. When this ecosystem is healthy, it thrives silently. But when it's under threat from internal factory malfunctions within its cells, from polluted waterways connecting it to other parts of your body, like the gut, from minerals being deposited incorrectly, like coral bleaching, or even from the body's own defense system, mistakenly attacking it, the entire ecosystem begins to suffer. The pain you feel is the ecosystem crying out for balance.
And here's the crucial link we'll explore today. The balance of that ecosystem is profoundly influenced by what you eat, not just in terms of general inflammation, but through highly specific pathways involving cellular stress, bile acid signaling, mineral transport, and immune triggers that are directly impacted by components hidden in your daily meals. Forgetting expensive treatments or miracle cures, the power to restore balance often lies on your plate. So prepare to look at your joints, your gut, and your diet in a completely new light. In this masterclass, Dr. Hinohara and I will guide you beyond the outdated wear and tear model. We will expose 4 deeper threats to your joint ecosystem that are directly fueled by common foods and reveal the targeted nutritional strategies you can use to neutralize these threats and nurture your joints back towards balance and comfort. If you are tired of surface-level explanations and ready to dive deep into the real science of joint health and discover how food can be your most powerful tool for restoring balance, then make your commitment known. Go to the comments section right now and type the word balance. It's your declaration that you're ready for deeper answers. And while you're there, please subscribe to Healthier Daily and ring that notification bell. Let's begin exploring the hidden world within your joints. Our journey into the joint ecosystem begins not with the visible structure, but deep inside the living cells that build and maintain it, the chondrocytes. Think of each chondrocyte as a highly specialized microscopic coral polyp or a worker cell living within the cartilage matrix. Its primary job is to constantly produce and maintain the complex proteins like collagen and proteoglycans that make up the reef or forest structure around it. This production happens in an intricate internal factory within the cell, a network of membranes called the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER. Now imagine this tiny, highly sophisticated factory is suddenly flooded with poor quality raw materials or overwhelmed by excessive demand. What happens? The machinery jams. Proteins get misfolded like intricate origami crumpled into useless balls. Waste products build up. And crucially, the factory starts sending out frantic distress signals. This state is known as ER stress. And groundbreaking research is revealing that ER stress within the chondrocytes is one of the earliest initiating events in the cascade that leads to osteoarthritis and joint destruction. It's the first sign that the ecosystem's core inhabitants are malfunctioning. What causes this factory meltdown? One of the primary culprits directly linked to our modern diet is an influx of toxic compounds called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. Think of AGEs as sticky caramelized gunk that forms when sugars react with proteins or fats, both in our food, especially during high-heat cooking, like grilling or frying, and inside our bodies when blood sugar is chronically high. This sticky gunk literally infiltrates the chondrocyte factory. It gums up the protein folding machinery, directly triggering ER stress. It also cross-links with the existing collagen fibers in the cartilage matrix outside the cell, making the reef stiff, brittle, and prone to cracking, much like sugar makes candy brittle. AGEs are a double attack, stressing the factory workers and degrading the structure they're trying to maintain.
So the first threat to our delicate joint ecosystem is this internal chaos within the very cells responsible for its upkeep. The factory is overwhelmed, sending out distress signals, the start of inflammation, and producing flawed materials, all because it's being flooded with toxic gunk generated by certain foods. Therefore, our first act as ecosystem guardians is to cut off the supply of these toxic inputs.
Exactly. To reduce ER stress and protect your chondrocytes, here are the primary foods and ingredients to avoid. High-fructose corn syrup, HFCS, and sugary drinks. These flood the body with excess fructose, a potent driver of AGEs formation and liver stress, which indirectly impacts cellular health everywhere. There's simply no place for liquid sugar in a joint-healthy diet. Refined carbohydrates and sugars, white bread, pastries, cookies, sugary cereals. These rapidly spike blood sugar, providing the raw material for AGEs formation inside your body. Modern wheat products often fall into this category due to their highly processed nature and high glycemic load. Highly processed are deep-fried foods. Many processed snacks, fast foods, and commercially fried items are cooked at high temperatures and often contain sugars or refined oils that readily form AGEs during cooking. Think browned, crispy, and sugary, often a triple threat. Excessive alcohol. While not directly forming AGEs in the same way, alcohol puts significant stress on the liver and cellular detoxification pathways, indirectly contributing to the overall burden on the chondrocyte's internal machinery and promoting inflammation. Beer especially can also contribute purines, which aggravate gout. By minimizing these specific triggers, you dramatically reduce the amount of sticky gunk overwhelming your cellular factories. This allows the ER to function more smoothly, reduces those initial distress signals, and creates a less hostile environment for cartilage maintenance.
Removing the toxic inputs is the first crucial step. We are stopping the active sabotage of the factory. In later phases, we will discuss the foods that actively support the factory and help clean up the existing damaged things rich in antioxidants and stable, healthy fats. But for now, recognize that controlling ER stress by avoiding these specific triggers is the foundational action to calm the chaos at the very heart of your joint ecosystem. It's the beginning of restoring internal balance. we have begun to calm the chaos inside the factory, the chondrocyte cells themselves, by reducing the toxic inputs that cause ER stress. But our precious joint ecosystem, our coral reef, or ancient forest, does not exist in isolation. It is intimately connected to other vast ecosystems within our body, primarily through intricate waterways, our bloodstream and lymphatic system. And one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked sources of influence comes from a distant, bustling metropolis, your gut ecosystem. Imagine rivers flowing from this metropolis directly to our pristine joint ecosystem. When the gut metropolis is healthy and well managed, these rivers carry vital nutrients and beneficial signals. But when the gut metropolis is polluted, chaotic, and its containment walls are breached, these same rivers become conduits for toxic pollution, flowing downstream and poisoning our delicate joint environment. This is threat to polluted waterways.
Dr. Hinohara's waterway analogy perfectly describes the profound connection scientists call the gut-joint axis. The health of your gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your digestive tract, directly influences the level of inflammation throughout your entire body, including your joints. A primary mechanism for this is increased intestinal permeability or leaky gut. Think of your gut lining as the tightly controlled city walls of that metropolis. In a healthy gut, these walls selectively allow nutrients to pass through while keeping harmful substances contained. But due to factors like poor diet stress or certain food additives, these walls can develop microscopic cracks. Through these cracks, inflammatory bacterial fragments like LPS or endotoxins and undigested food proteins can leak directly into the river, your bloodstream. These escaped pollutants trigger a system-wide immune alert, creating chronic low-grade inflammation that travels throughout your body. And sensitive ecosystems like your joints become prime targets for this circulating inflammation, constantly reigniting the smoldering fires we're trying so hard to put out. But the gut's influence is even more sophisticated. It's not just about preventing pollution, it's also about sending beneficial signals. Your liver produces primary bile acids to help digest fats. When these reach your gut, specific beneficial gut bacteria metabolize them into secondary bile acids. Now, here is the mind-blowing discovery. Recent research shows that your chondrocytes, those coral polyps in your cartilage, have specific receptors for these secondary bile acids. These secondary bile acids travel through the waterway's bloodstream from the gut to the joint and act as potent anti-inflammatory and protective signals directly within the cartilage ecosystem. They help calm ER stress threat 1 and reduce the production of those destructive MMP enzymes. So a healthy gut doesn't just stop sending pollutants. It actively sends protective messengers downstream to the joints.
Do you see the critical link? A damaged gut ecosystem is a double tragedy for your joints. First, its leaky walls allow inflammatory pollutants to flood the waterways. Second, the disruption of its healthy bacterial balance means it fails to produce the crucial protective signal secondary bile acids that your joints need. The joint ecosystem is simultaneously being poisoned and starved of its natural defenses.
This understanding allows us to identify specific dietary culprits that sabotage this vital connection. Foods and ingredients to avoid because they pollute the waterways or disrupt the signals include emulsifiers found in countless processed foods, ice cream salad dressings, baked goods, Compounds like polysorbate 80, carrageenan, and carboxymethylcellulose act like harsh detergents in the gut. Studies show they can directly damage the gut lining, causing leaks and decimate beneficial bacteria populations, stopping protective signal production. Reading labels to avoid these is crucial. Strictly low-fat diets, potentially while avoiding unhealthy fats, is vital. Healthy fats like olive oil, avocado are necessary to stimulate adequate bile flow from the liver and gallbladder. Insufficient bile flow means less primary bile reaches the gut, giving your microbes less raw material to create those protective secondary bile signals. Balance is key. Conventional soy protein isolate, often found in cheap protein bars and powders, besides potential processing contaminants, it lacks taurine, an amino acid crucial for the liver's synthesis of primary bile acids. Diets relying heavily on such isolates, especially some vegan patterns lacking other taurine sources, might compromise the entire bile acid signaling pathway. Conversely, we can actively clean the waterways and boost the protective signals. Foods to eat include fermented foods, sauerkraut, kefir, unsweetened, kimchi, miso, plain yogurt with live cultures. These act like restocking the river with diverse beneficial bacteria capable of healing the gut lining and producing those vital secondary bile acids. Healthy fats, extra virgin olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, grass-fed butter, ghee, fatty fish. These promote healthy bile flow, ensuring the gut microbes get the primary bile they need to work with. Taurine-rich foods, if appropriate for diet, high-quality pasture-raised meats, poultry, seafood, especially shellfish, provide taurine, supporting the liver's primary bile production.
I recall a patient, Maria. Her joint pain began escalating dramatically after she had her gallbladder removed several years prior. Doctors told her it was unrelated, just age. She also suffered from chronic digestive issues, bloating, and had taken multiple rounds of antibiotics for recurrent infections. Her waterways were clearly polluted, and her signal production factory, gallbladder, bile flow, was compromised. We shifted her focus entirely to gut restoration. We introduced daily fermented foods, ensured adequate healthy fats, and used targeted supplements to support bile flow. The change wasn't overnight, but slowly, as her digestion improved, her joint pain began to recede in parallel. By cleaning the river connecting her gut to her joints, we reduced the inflammatory burden and likely restored the flow of protective signals. It was a profound lesson in the interconnectedness of our internal ecosystems. Okay, here is part 4, focusing on threat 3, mineral mismanagement and hardening. Part 4, threat 3, mineral mismanagement and hardening calcification. Vitamin K2 and warfarin. We have addressed the internal factory chaos stress and the polluted waterways connecting the gut to the joint. Now we turn to a third insidious threat to our delicate joint ecosystem, one that doesn't just inflame or erode, but hardens it, turning flexible living tissue into something brittle and dysfunctional. Imagine our vibrant coral reef beginning to bleach, or worse, becoming petrified, losing its life and structure. This is threat 3, mineral mismanagement and hardening.
This threat revolves around the mineral calcium. We all know calcium is essential for strong bones, but the secret isn't just getting enough calcium. It's about ensuring that calcium goes to the right place, bones and teeth, and crucially stays out of the wrong places, soft tissues like arteries, kidneys, and yes, our joint cartilage. When calcium gets deposited incorrectly into cartilage, it causes calcification. This makes the normally smooth, resilient cartilage stiff and abrasive, accelerating damage and causing significant pain. Think of it like hard coral growing over and destroying the soft living parts of the reef. So what controls this crucial calcium traffic? While vitamin D helps us absorb calcium, the master traffic cop directing calcium to the right locations is vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form. Vitamin K2 activates two key proteins, osteocalcin. This protein pulls calcium into your bones and teeth, strengthening them. Matrix Gluten protein, MGP. This protein acts as a powerful inhibitor of calcification in soft tissues. It actively patrols your arteries and joints, preventing calcium from depositing where it shouldn't. If you are deficient in vitamin K2, this entire system breaks down. Calcium doesn't get effectively directed into bones, contributing to osteoporosis, and worse, MGP doesn't get activated, allowing calcium to build up unchecked in your soft tissues, including your joint cartilage, leading to stiffness, spurs osteophytes, and accelerated degeneration. It's like having no traffic cops during rush hour chaos, and pileups are inevitable. Now here's a critical and often dangerous connection highlighted in the original script: the blood-thinning medication warfarin Coumadin. Warfarin works by blocking vitamin K1 activity to prevent clotting. But unfortunately, it also significantly blocks vitamin K2 activity. This means people on long-term warfarin therapy have a dramatically increased risk of both osteoporosis and soft tissue calcification, including in their joints and arteries. It's a tragic side effect taking a drug for heart health that simultaneously promotes calcification of blood vessels around the heart and hardening of joints.
This mineral mismanagement is a silent threat. It doesn't cause the immediate fire of inflammation, but rather a slow, progressive hardening and loss of function in the ecosystem. Protecting against this requires ensuring our traffic cop vitamin K2 is well supplied and active.
So what dietary factors contribute to this threat? Foods factors to avoid contributing to mismanagement. Very low-fat diets. Vitamin K2 is a fat-soluble vitamin. Severely restricting healthy fats impairs its absorption. Inadequate K2 intake. The modern Western diet is often severely lacking in true vitamin K2 sources, distinct from K1 found in leafy greens. Warfarin use medical consideration. While necessary for some, its impact on K2 must be acknowledged and discussed with a doctor regarding potential mitigation strategies. Never stop medication without medical advice. Excessive calcium supplementation. Without K2, magnesium, flooding the system with calcium without the traffic cops, K2 and supporting minerals, Mg, can increase the risk of improper deposition. Conversely, how do we support proper mineral management? Foods to eat, providing the traffic cop vitamin K2, natto-fermented soybeans, by far the richest source of MK7, an acquired taste for many, but incredibly potent. Grass-fed dairy, butter, ghee, and certain hard cheeses like Gouda Brie from grass-fed cows contain significantly more K2 as MK4 than conventional dairy. This is also where casein A2 milk or cheese comes in, often from heritage breeds or grass-fed animals, generally better tolerated than A1. Pasture-raised egg yolks contain moderate amounts of MK4. Organ meats, especially liver, goose liver pate, is very high.
Ensuring adequate vitamin K2 is like hiring and empowering the crucial traffic police for your internal mineral highways. It prevents the hardening of your precious joint ecosystem, keeping the cartilage resilient and functional, and ensuring calcium strengthens your bones, not stiffens your joints. It protects the living structure from becoming lifeless stone.
It's truly fascinating how these different systems, gut health, bile acids, mineral metabolism, all converge on the health of our joints. And it's equally fascinating seeing our global community converge here to learn. Please take a moment to share which state or country you are watching from in the comments below. It reinforces our shared mission for better health worldwide.
We have addressed the internal factory failures, the polluted waterways, and the risk of the ecosystem hardening into stone. But there is one final devastating threat we must confront: a situation where the ecosystem's own defense system, designed to protect it, turns against it in a tragic case of friendly fire. This is the reality of autoimmune conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, RA. But the principles also apply to how certain foods can trigger immune reactivity, even in osteoarthritis. This is Threat 4, Friendly Fire and Immune Chaos.
In rheumatoid arthritis, the immune system mistakenly identifies the joint lining the synovium and sometimes the cartilage itself as a foreign invader. It launches a full-scale, relentless attack, flooding the joint ecosystem with inflammatory cells and destructive antibodies. Using our metaphor, it's as if the park rangers assigned to protect the ancient forest suddenly start cutting the trees and poisoning the soil, believing they are fighting an enemy that isn't actually there. This creates intense chronic inflammation far beyond what we see in typical osteoarthritis. Managing RA requires a comprehensive medical approach, but nutrition plays a crucial role in modulating this misguided immune response. One of the most potent natural immune modulators science has discovered is vitamin D3. We know vitamin D is vital for bone's calcium absorption and preventing calcification when paired with K2, but it also acts as a sophisticated communicator with the immune system. Specifically active vitamin D helps to balance the different branches of the immune system, calming down the over-aggressive attack cells, like certain T cells, and promoting the peacekeeping regulatory cells. However, as the original script rightly pointed out, achieving this therapeutic immune modulating effect, especially in active autoimmunity, often requires significantly higher doses of vitamin D3 than needed for bone health, potentially 20,000 IU, 30,000 IU, or even more daily. Crucially, this must be done under the supervision of a knowledgeable physician with regular blood tests to monitor levels and ensure safety. High-dose D3 also absolutely requires adequate intake of its cofactors, vitamin K2 to prevent calcium issues, magnesium, and zinc. Now, beyond the specific case of RA, the concept of friendly fire extends to how certain food triggers and sensitivities can provoke a less intense but still damaging immune reaction in anyone with joint pain, including osteoarthritis. Certain food components can act as irritants or mimics that confuse the immune system, causing it to release low-grade inflammatory signals into the waterways, contributing to the overall burden on the joint ecosystem.
Identifying and removing these personal irritants can be a game changer. It's like removing thorny bushes or allergenic pollen from the forest, allowing the ecosystem to finally calm down.
Based on research and clinical observation, here are some common potential foods, just ingredients to avoid, due to their potential to trigger immune reactivity or inflammation. Casein A1 protein, found predominantly in conventional cow's milk and concentrated in products like sodium caseinate or calcium caseinate, often in protein bars, processed foods, and some cheeses like standard American cheese. A protein fragment from A1 called BCM7 can be inflammatory for susceptible individuals. Opting for casein A2 dairy from specific breeds, goat, sheep, or grass-fed sources is often better tolerated. Modern wheat without gluten beyond the refined carb ages issue threat 1. The gluten protein itself is notoriously difficult to digest and can trigger inflammatory responses in many people, not just those with celiac disease. Components like wheat germ, agglutinin WGO, can also directly irritate the gut lining threat 2. Ancient grains may be better tolerated by some, but modern wheat is a common culprit. Refined seed oils high omega-6, corn, soy, cottonseed, safflower, sunflower standard types. While some cold-pressed versions exist, the typical refined oils are processed with high heat chemicals and are extremely high in omega-6 fatty acids. An excessive omega-6 to omega-3 ratio promotes the production of pro-inflammatory signaling molecules in the body, potentially fueling immune reactivity. Carefully distinguish these from healthy fats like olive oil, avocado oil, or high oleic sunflower, safflower oil. Hidden trigger oral biofilm infections. As mentioned briefly in the original script, chronic low-grade infections in the gums or old root canals can constantly leak bacteria or inflammatory signals into the bloodstream, acting as a persistent trigger for systemic inflammation and potentially confusing the immune system, contributing to joint issues. Maintaining excellent oral hygiene is crucial. Conversely, what foods nutrients help calm immune chaos and provide repair materials? Omega-3 fatty acids, fatty fish, fish oil, flax, chia. The counterpoint to omega-6s. They generate anti-inflammatory resolvins and protectins, helping to balance the immune response. Sulfur-rich foods, garlic, onions, broccoli, cabbage, kale. Sulfur is essential for cartilage structure, part of glucosamine, chondroitin, and detoxification pathways, helping the ecosystem repair itself. Collagen. Bone broth provides the specific amino acid bricks needed for cartilage repair once inflammation is calmed. Vitamin D sources sunlight, fatty fish, cod, liver oil. Ensure adequate levels through testing and appropriate supplementation under guidance, especially if suspecting immune involvement. Advanced support, TUDCA, tauroso-deoxycholic acid, a specialized bile acid supplement mentioned in the original script. Research suggests TUDCA can significantly reduce ER stress, threat 1, protect chondrocytes, and potentially reduce inflammatory signaling, showing promise for various arthritis types. Again, this is an advanced supplement requiring discussion with a knowledgeable practitioner.
I recall a patient, Sarah, who suffered from debilitating rheumatoid arthritis flares. Medications helped, but never fully controlled her pain and swelling. She felt her life was dictated by her unpredictable immune system. We worked alongside her rheumatologist, focusing intensely on identifying her dietary triggers and optimizing her immune-modulating nutrients. Through careful elimination, she discovered conventional dairy, casein, A1, and gluten were major triggers for her flares. We also optimized her vitamin D levels under medical supervision and significantly increased her omega-3 intake. The change was profound. Her need for pain medication decreased dramatically. Her flares became less frequent and less severe. She described it as feeling like she had finally negotiated a truce with her own immune system. By removing the irritants and providing peacekeeping signals, we helped restore balance to her internal ecosystem. And so we complete our exploration of the intricate joint ecosystem. We have journeyed beyond the surface symptoms of pain and stiffness, deep into the underlying processes, the overwhelmed factory, suffering from stress, the polluted waterways, connecting a disrupted gut to the joint, the mineral mismanagement, leading to hardening and calcification, and the tragic friendly fire of immune chaos. We see now that arthritis is rarely just one thing. It is often a confluence of these deeper imbalances. But with this deeper understanding comes profound power. You are no longer just a passive victim of joint pain. You are the ecosystem guardian. You now hold the knowledge to identify the specific threats most impacting your unique ecosystem, and you possess the natural dietary tools to begin restoring balance, nurturing resilience, and calming the distress signals. It is a journey not of fighting against your body, but of working with its innate wisdom.
That role of ecosystem guardian is empowered by a clear, targeted nutritional strategy. Let's consolidate everything we've learned into the Guardian's diet. Your actionable plan to address all 4 threats simultaneously. Your priorities: foods to embrace. Clean the waterways and boost signals. Make fermented foods, sauerkraut, kefir, kimchi, plain yogurt, a daily staple to support your gut microbiome and secondary bile acid production. Include plenty of healthy fats, extra virgin olive oil, avocado nut seeds, grass-fed butter, ghee to stimulate healthy bile flow. Provide the traffic cop. Ensure adequate vitamin K2 intake through grass-fed dairy pasture, raised egg yolks, or natto if you enjoy it. Calm immune chaos and provide repair materials. Prioritize omega-3 fats. Fatty fish like salmon, sardines, or flax, bush, chia, walnuts. Eat plenty of sulfur-rich vegetables, garlic, onions, broccoli, kale. Consider high-quality collagen peptides or bone broth for building blocks. Ensure adequate vitamin D levels through safe sun exposure food or appropriate supplementation. Get tested. High-quality pasture-raised animal protein provides taurine for bile and other essential nutrients. Calm the factory. Focus on a low-glycemic whole foods diet, rich in colorful plants to provide antioxidants and minimize ages formation. Your eliminate list foods to reduce or avoid. Stop fueling stress. Drastically reduce sugar, high fructose corn syrup, and refined carbohydrates, white bread, pastries, sugary drinks. Minimize highly processed, deep-fried foods high in ages. Limit alcohol. Stop polluting the waterways. Read labels diligently and avoid emulsifiers, polysorbate 80, carrageenan, CMC. Be cautious with conventional soy protein isolate. Avoid potential immune triggers. Consider reducing or eliminating casein. A1 dairy, conventional milk, Schaus cheese, caseinates, and modern wheat gluten. Strictly avoid refined seed oils, corn, soy, cottonseed, etc. Address hidden triggers. Maintain excellent oral hygiene to minimize inflammatory load from the mouth. This comprehensive approach addresses joint health at its roots. You're tackling chondrocyte stress diet, related factors leveraging secondary bile acids, arthritis, inflammation pathways, focusing on vitamin K2 joint calcification, prevention utilizing gut joint axis nutritional therapy, and incorporating immune-modulating foods, rheumatoid arthritis principles. It's a truly holistic strategy. If this deep dive into the joint ecosystem and the powerful role of targeted nutrition has provided you with valuable insights and a renewed sense of hope, please show your support by giving this video a like, and please share it. This information goes far beyond generic anti-inflammatory advice and could be the missing piece for someone suffering needlessly. And if you haven't yet joined our dedicated community, we warmly invite you to subscribe to Healthier Daily and ring that notification bell. We are committed to bringing you this level of in-depth, science-backed, natural health wisdom. Finally, our most important question for you today, as the guardian of your own joint ecosystem. Reflecting on the four major threats we've explored, which of the four threats? The overwhelmed factory, stress at chuck ages, the polluted waterways, gut bile mineral mismanagement, K2 calcification or friendly fire. Immune chaos triggers do you suspect is most impacting your joints right now? Please share your thoughtful answer in the comments below. Understanding your ecosystem's primary vulnerability is the first step toward targeted healing, and your journey can inspire and inform others. From all of us at Healthier Daily, thank you for investing this time in your profound well-being.
Be a wise and nurturing ecosystem guardian. May your inner environment find its balance and your joints find their ease.